I was hoping to teach Inventor to you folks, like we would normally do in class. Problem is, it doesn't work on Chromebooks. So I am learning a new program with you. We're going to try one called Sketchup for 3D modeling. And it's fairly simple, but I can't quite get everything to work. But the cool thing is, it's all online. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to just follow what I do. We're just going to do some real basic stuff today. Add on to it each day. We'll see how, tough we can get. But you're going to go open a new tab in Google, like I have here, and then click on your waffle. And then you're going to scroll down and you're going to find a icon that says SketchUp. Looks like this. You may have to hit on more at the bottom and have it show you more, but I think your SketchUp should show up. Click on SketchUp, and it's going to take a little bit to load. Yours may take longer because you haven't loaded it before. It will go. When I first did mine, it sat there doing this for quite some time, but now it's going a little faster, I hope. So when SketchUp loads the first time, so there's mine loaded. You see I have some files that I've done already. When SketchUp loads the first time, it's pretty cool. It makes a folder in your Google Drive. So the first time you save one, it'll ask you what folder you want to put it in. And I believe that folder will pop up and you just save it in there. So let's say you're going to go, this will all be blank for you, but go create new and go simple template feet and inches, because we're going to work in feet and inches. And it'll open up your drawing area. And they put this guy in here, I forget what they call him, Bob, I think, whatever. They put Bob in there to show us a relationship of size. Because like one of the things I usually have kids do is a 2x2x2 cube or a 2-inch cube. And so that 2-inch cube would be like, probably smaller than his feet. So then you have to scale it way down. Right now, we're not going to worry too much about measurements. I'll show you how we can do that later. I can't get them to work very well, but I do know how to size it way smaller or bigger. But today, let's just get familiar with some of the tools and do something real simple. So right up here first is your folder where you would save. So like this says it's untitled right now. So it says click to set the model name. So we can click on there and then it's going to ask us the name. Or if I cancel that, if I click on the file and I go save as to name it the first time, either one's going to work and it's untitled. So I'm just going to say, let's call this cube and click OK. So now it's going to take a few seconds. Oh, now it didn't ask me where to put it because I've already done it. It's going to ask, here it comes. Okay, it will ask me what folder. So it's going to, there is my SketchUp models. It will have made a SketchUp models folder for you. So select that folder and it'll take a little bit and it says saving. It'll eventually here say saved. Your internet speed is going to depend on how fast this works. Might go faster for you. Mine's not really flying. Okay, so it's saved. And the name of it is Cube. So now over here is all our tools that we're going to use. And all of these that have this little arrow on them, when you click on it, it gives you a bunch more. And this is my paint one. So it actually opened up my paint over here. I can close that. Like, let's say I click on the rectangle tool. It gives me a whole bunch more. It's not just a rectangle. It gives me the regular rectangle. It gives me what's called a rotated rectangle. It gives me a circle, a polygon, and it's where I would do my 3D text if I want lettering. So these, sometimes you gotta, oops, I actually got on the tool. So if you get on the tool and you don't want to be on it, hit the escape key in the top left of your keyboard and it's gone. I'm still on that tool. If I want to go to the pointer, I got to click on there and get on the pointer. But sometimes you got to kind of search for the tools you want because they're a little bit hidden. Like the first time I was using, I'm like, where do I find a circle? Well, lo and behold, the circle is actually in the square. And so look, if I clicked on circle, now if I escape that and I get out of there by going on the pointer, now that tool is now the circle tool. So you it changes them depending on what you used last. This over here gives you some information. The one that's kind of cool is this one called instructor, because when you open up the instructor, it shows you when you select a tool, it shows you how it works. So sometimes if you're lost and don't get how a tool works, that works kind of slick. I'm going to close it for now because it takes up a bunch of our screen. And then you got other stuff in here that you'll possibly use later that we'll talk about. So today, all I want to do is make a cube, or make as close to a cube as we can. We're not even going to dimension it. So it might not be exactly, you know, three sides, three dimensions, all exactly the same. You're just going to eyeball and get as close as you can. So here's what you would do. You're going to first go to the square tool. You're going to want or the rectangle tool. You're going to want the regular rectangle. Now, in front of Bob's feet here, I'm going to click and let go, and then drag out diagonally. And you see now obviously I'm making a pretty good size square, because if I compare it to Bob's body, it's going to be pretty big, which is fine. So right now I'm a rectangle. Watch as I move a little bit, when I get that diagonal line and it tells me it's a square. Let's click where we get a square. Boom. And by the way, your best way to do this is probably watch a little bit of me, pause the video, go back and do it. Watch me, pause it. Okay. So we got a square. Now I'm going to go to what's called the push-pull tool. And when I click on that, I've got three options. I got push-pull, I've got follow me, which I'm not even sure what it is, and I've got offset, which we may or may not get to, but you're going to use the push-pull. And what you're going to do is click on your surface you just made, your square, and you're going to pull it up. So now we're making it 3D. We're going to pull it up so it looks to be square. It's probably not going to be exactly square or rectangular, but let's look at the ends and see what we think. Okay, so now let's say I want to get out of that tool. I have made a cube. Now let's look at it. There's a few different ways to spin this thing around so we can look at it. One is the orbit tool down here. You click on the orbit tool, and you click on here. Now if I click on this, I can spin it any old way I want, and I can look and see if I got pretty close to a cube. And I think I do. There is also an easier and faster way. Let's get out of the orbit tool. There's an easier and faster way to spin it around too with the orbit tool. If you are using a mouse, if you're using a touchpad on your computer, you don't have this. But if you're using the mouse, the scroll wheel is pretty awesome. The thing in the middle, it's not only a wheel, it's a button. So you can actually, if you get over your model and you press and hold the scroll wheel, it turns into an orbit tool. So you can spin it around like that, okay? So that is also an option. This one is a little bit handier. It's a little bit, well, it's not handier, but it's a little bit easier to use. So now I'm going to get my model about the way I want it. So I'm looking at it pretty straight on, okay? And so the beauty, of course, that this is Google-based is that it saves for you too. But you might want to click save once in a while to make sure you've saved your latest changes in case something happens. So let's see. Oh, zooming. Let's say you want to get in and out on your model. That is also under the orbit tool. And here is the zoom there. So I can zoom on a certain, okay, I just pull in and out. I will tell you an easier way to zoom, if I get out of here, again, is with the scroll wheel on your mouse. If you don't have a mouse on your Chromebook or your computer now, you might want to find one if you can, because it just makes this stuff a little easier. But the scroll wheel is sweet. If you scroll one way, it zooms out. If you scroll the other way, it zooms in. it zooms in on wherever my cursor is. So look, if I put my cursor over here, it's zooming in over there and my model disappears. Then I got to bring it back, right? So you want to have your cursor where you want to zoom. Like if I have it here, it's going to zoom in on Bob. All right, so really all I want you to make today, and yes, it's going to be simple, it's going to be easy, is just make this cube. And then later next time we'll add some stuff to it. Right now we're not worried about the size. Make it as close to a cube as you can. If it's not exact, that is perfectly fine. And then next time I'll show you some new stuff. But it says that I am saved, so it saved my latest changes. So I could just close out. I do want to show you something else. You click on here. That takes you to your home where I saved it. So one thing I want to show you here is the curriculum. If you want to go ahead and you want to play around with SketchUp and see what you can do, a great place to start. This is where I learned. I made it real simple what I showed you. But if you want to learn more about the tools and stuff, this SketchUp for Schools introduction is a cool 8-minute video that takes you through kind of what I just did, only they have you do a house, which I can show you right here if it loads. I had a house. Where the heck did it go? Invalid data. Why? I had a house here. So I guess I can't show it to you. But, oh, I could if I go to my Google Drive. And let's try going to my SketchUp models and see if my house is there. Intro to SketchUp, I think is what I called it. And there's my house it had me do on that video. So you can, if you want, it's not required, but if you want to go to the curriculum there after you go to home and mess around with that, go for it. Now, my question here is how do I get back to the one I was just on? I go here and I go to my drive, SketchUp models. I think there's a faster way to get there, but here is my cube that we just did. There we go. So that's what you're looking for today. So have fun, play around with it, see what you do on SketchUp, and we'll add to this cube next time.